This here is a little report on Johnny Depp by Terran on X, if I'm saying that right. So thank you for the little bit. Here we go. Interest in Johnny Depp's art will expand to Europe and Asia. We spoke to Alex McDonald, managing director of Pantheon Art, about Johnny Depp's journey into art making in an exclusive for the art newspaper Turkey. Fine art was once a very personal and private form of expression for Johnny, but after an emotional shift he experienced years ago, he decided to share his art with the world, and soon after, Pantheon Art was established. Since then, Pantheon Art has focused on producing bold expedition concepts and collective fine art editions like A Bunch of Stuff. If you haven't seen A Bunch of Stuff, it's basically a lot of things Johnny had around the house, paintings, kind of organized in patterns and interesting ways and stuff, and it just felt like a nice homemade feel. That journey so far has been primarily rooted in the US and UK, but interest in Depp's art is set to grow this year across Europe and Asia. For Pantheon Art, this is an unmissable opportunity to spotlight one of the most beloved creators in the world. Yeah, you could say that. Now, Johnny himself has said he's not an artist, and I get what he's saying. I think he is. I think being an artist mostly means you've got a unique style that not anyone can do. If not, then anyone's an artist. And Johnny definitely has a unique style. And what do you know? Looks like Johnny's art is spreading around the world. Not a surprise, although some of the fans on the other side might be a bit flabbergasted. Johnny often describes art as a form of escape. For him, it's about stopping, reflecting, observing, and discovering a silent space. It's a way of making sense of the world, both around him and within. At the same time, it's also a deeply creative force, art total, driven by the instinct to express and make. Now we know Johnny Depp's a huge Beatles fan, and a lot of things Johnny says, if you're a big enough Beatles fan, you know he was influenced by George Harrison wrote a song, Within Without You, and, well, yeah, influenced the world around him and within. Just saying. But my silly opinion. I've just got a feeling Johnny is pretty heavily influenced by the Beatles. The emotional depth in Johnny's art doesn't come from personal experiences. It's also shaped by a lifelong fascination with art history and admiration for those who came before him, which we need more in the world these days. That reference, coupled with his introspective nature, makes his work feel both raw and reflective. For Johnny, art has always carried multiple meanings, but in a lasting sense, it's become one of the few spaces he returns to for safety. Alright, that's nice. Each new initiative brings with it fresh excitement. Johnny is always seeking out new layers of the creative process. 2025 will see a number of exciting new projects, and as Johnny continues to explore and experiment, there's much more to be revealed. Sounds just about right. I'm not surprised. I know in Japan, a lot of people know Johnny and Jack Sparrow. I think some of the younger kids, maybe, 5, 6, 7 age, don't really know him, which is understandable. He's been on the Pirates for a long time now. But pretty much any kid from about junior high school and up, and everyone knows Johnny and Jack Sparrow. And if Johnny was in Pirate 6 and came back somehow or whatnot, and his face was on there, I'm sure more kids will go see it, and that generation would probably get to know Johnny. But getting off track here, what was I talking about? Alright, what I was going to say is, I think there's a good international market for Johnny in Asia. Time will tell, but I think it'll tell pretty good. Alright, kind of screwed up that ending, but here we are. If you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you don't, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.